we are live here tonight, Monday, November 24th, 2025, for the Columbia School District School Board Business Meeting. Mr. Chairman?
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good news?
Good news, I am excited to share. Tonight is the night we start our very first district-wide conferences. We've always done elementary and middle school, but tonight embarks a new journey with our high school joining that. We've been talking about that for some time. As you notice, you pulled up, you saw some full parking lots. Have been in the buildings throughout the day, both morning, afternoon, and evening. We adjusted our schedule so that we could allow the maximum flexibility for parents to get here in the evening. And so we're getting a good turnout. We're obviously hoping to get 100%. That's always our goal. They're keeping track. And I'll have some data actually on that, how many actually we're able to conference with. And so we're excited about the information. We just felt it was extremely important to make the shift to really talk about, we have a lot to communicate with our parents all the way across, and we don't believe we should be stopping that at middle school. And so you're going to see us in the springtime taking even an additional step as we begin looking at our post-secondary high school and beyond plans, which is a graduation requirement. We're beginning embedding those pieces into the middle school and high school conferences. As that information comes out, I don't want people to expect or think like we expect, or think like a student in sixth grade or ninth grade, we expect to know what they're doing in high school. That's not what that's about. You're just beginning them, or beyond high school. We're just getting them to begin think about the coursework and the academic work and the things that would prepare them for whatever they choose. They can change their mind 20, 30 different times. We'll continue to do that. But it's the plan that leads up to the courses, ideas, interest inventory, those pieces that leads up to those graduations. We're going to be embedding in a lot of those conferences with parents as we go along that. So we're going to be a little bit more intentional about talking to kids about post-secondary. And I don't want people to think like we're assuming they should be locking in early. That's not at all what we're saying. But we're just being more intentional about those conversations and engaging families in our community in those at that time. So more to come later on that, but excited for our kickoff and get started on that.
Okay. Good. Okay, board operating principle review. Board, if you'll do superintendent. Todd? So effective meetings, no surprises. The board meetings are open to the public, but they're not public meetings. Board, share ideas about programs and new directions with the superintendent and other members of the board in a timely manner before presenting publicly.
Superintendent, bring matters to the board in a timely fashion. Present programs, projects well enough in advance. Suggestions for change proposed by the board can be addressed without upsetting activities already in motion.
Okay, any changes or additions to the agenda?
Well, we're going to talk about if we wanted to make any additions to that at this time.
So I'd like to add 8.6 meeting times for our board meetings.
Added.
Under discussion or reports.
Under reports, so I've got that here. I'll bring that up when we get to that, just for a general discussion.
Yep.
The other piece that we'll add to is after the CWASA report, I'm going to ask Michael to address just the WASDA conference to give you an update from there. We'll add that to the report from the information we learned over the weekend.
Perfect. Any other changes or additions?
Nope. We'll go with just those two additions.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda, like 3 items.
Correct.
Entertain a motion.
I can't find the personnel page.
Oh,
Did I miss it?
yeah, it's right here. Hold on. Let's get a motion
go
on
ahead
the
and-
table.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Questions?
Are these 3 leaves of absences for the year or for an indefinite period of time? And
They're all different stories. Most of those are medical related or pieces on that.
okay, thank you.
Okay, anything further? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous?
Okay.
Okay, hearing and visitors. Would anybody like to address the board today?
Thank you for being here.
Okay, reports and discussion, student rep.
All right, I'm excited to hand this over to our student board. Who'll take us through our updates. Ivy?
Okay, starting with high school. Sports, boys basketball, girls basketball, wrestling, and cheer has started. The first basketball game is on December 2nd. It is a Tuesday. I believe boys varsity will be at 7:30 possibly. But
Get a
super
test, first
excited.
game. Yep.
Yes, playing kitty. I'm excited. Wrestling, don't know when their first meet is or when they had it, if they had it. I don't
We have
think
not
they
had
have
one yet, but it's coming up.
Yeah. And then cheer, we only had 6 girls come out, but it's okay. It's fun. It's nice. Cheer's great. Other activities. We had a root beer float party for our coyote cred, which is little purple tickets that we get if some teachers use it like, oh, if you answer a question, I'll give you a coyote cred, or like if you show up on time, like things like that. And if you get enough, we get like a school-wide reward. And we had a root beer float party on Friday, which I didn't go to because I had yearbook things to do. But everybody else seemed to have a really good time. Conferences, obviously, we already talked about that. They were in the commons. They seem to have been going good from what I thought. I kind of like that we did it in the commons because then everybody was kind of close quarters and you could easily get to all your teachers at once. And then Miss Maxwell took my class, so the 10 students from the junior class, on a field trip with Gear Up, and those are what those pictures are from. We went on a tour of Gonzaga and Eastern. It was really cold and rainy, but it was also really beautiful. Their campuses are really beautiful. There was a hockey game going on in Easter. It was WSU versus, I think it was a California school, which was really interesting. They came up, but Eastern's like the only school in Washington with an ice skating rink, which I thought was really cool, which is not pertinent information, but it's really cool to get to go to our campuses. We've been to Central, Eastern Oregon. I know some other students have gone to WSU with Gear Up. It was a really cool opportunity to go and see and visit, and they talked to you a lot about like kind of what college is like. But it was super cool. We were gone all day though. I think I left my house at 5 and I got home around 8, so super long trip. But we also went with Granger and Prosser. They had students go, so that was also cool. Clubs. Honor Society, we started the coat drive, and then Drama Club has picked their plate. And I think that's all the new news for clubs.
Maybe one of the things I'd look at, get some feedback on from the high school would be, I know it's just starting tonight's first night, but I'd like to get some feedback on conferences and just really from a student perspective on how that went and.
Like for our next meeting?
Yeah, for our next meeting. Some feedback on just, what the general thoughts of students were regarding that process. And, we're always looking to make things better. We're just getting started. So, if there's something we can do to encourage additional attendance, it's always what we're looking at. Thank you.
I covered the middle school. Girls basketball, boys basketball, and wrestling started. I know the boys basketball team had a basketball game, and they won. I don't know who it was against, but my sister was there, so that's how I know. That's good. The photography class, my sister is taking that class, and she really likes it. They're doing like a photography portfolio right now, and it's supposed to help them practice their editing skills. So they think critically, I would assume, when editing. And they like look at textures and the way objects look bigger on camera, but smaller in person, and things of that nature. Also with the broadcasting class, it's Miss Clayton, if I'm not mistaken. She gave me a really good idea. I don't know if you guys would be on board with it, but she would like to partner with us and have her broadcasting class, make a little video for them to present here at the board meeting. I thought it was a good idea, but I don't know.
Can really reach out to her. I like it.
ASB is their only club besides the book reading club, which I don't think has started yet.
My mom was listening to the audiobook, so she started her book.
They're starting to sell wintergrams, which is like the boograms. I couldn't find a picture of the wintergrams because they haven't started like physically making them. So I just showed the boograms because it's like a good example. And then I found out they sell Italian sodas every Friday. So I thought that was cool. Good way to make money. And they're so young, so it really benefits them to like learn these things early on.
Sorry.
At the elementary school, that picture is the Mrs. Warwood class. The second graders helped send off the football boys to go to state. It was really cute seeing their signs, and I know a couple of them, or most of them, from our leadership class in the high school, because that's the class that comes down and are the Coyote Buddies, which is the leadership Thanksgiving was on Thursday, and they brought a bunch of drinks, and it was really fun just hanging out with them, eating. I made mac and cheese and a couple of sweets, and a lot of people brought food, which was nice because some of the kids don't like certain foods, and so they had options to pick from. Obviously, conferences today and tomorrow, which is kind of normal for elementary. And then my soccer coach, she works at the elementary school. She says that they're decorating halls for Christmas this week, which is very fun, but it's still November, so, which is fine because we don't get back to school until December 2nd or 1st. I don't know. I think it's 2nd. But yeah, that's really what I found out at the elementary school.
Thank you.
Yep.
Continue to do a good job of that relationship building between those elementary kiddos and the high school. I continue to be amazed. It shouldn't be, but I'm always continue to be amazed. And we're still fortunate enough to live in a place we're small enough that we take for granted that a lot of those kids know those high school kids and vice versa by first name. You know, and that doesn't happen everywhere. I mean, as I continue to walk around and go to other districts and places, we seem to do a really good job of that. And, you know, when we can brag about those things, we do a really good job of connecting those groups. So, thank you. You guys here? You got conferences you need to be at, things you got to do?
I locked my keys in my car, so I'm just waiting for somebody to come get them out.
It's all part of the learning curve.
Well, it's the second time it's happened to me this month, so.
Okay.
You sure you don't need to write it on?
We'll set some goals for that.
Is somebody bringing a spare key to get you in, or?
Last time we had to use these wedges that my friend's dad has and unlock my car because,
Still being recorded, remember? I just,
you know, that'll probably be fun
yeah.
for you guys to watch. But yeah,
Your mom know?
I told her.
Okay, perfect. So you got help on the way? Perfect.
Hope so.
Okay.
I'm gonna head out.
Okay, thank you. Okay, roll it. All right, enrollment. Thank you, Faith.
All right, enrollment and budget status. So for November, our enrollment with our TK, transitional kinder, we're at 747.52, and our average is at 748.68. Budget status, general fund. For the month of October, we are about 3 million. Capital projects, we're at 385,000. Debt service fund, 291,000. ASB fund, 174,000, and 207 in the private funds. Transportation vehicle fund, 135,000.
Which you'll be hearing more about later.
Go back to the debt service fund, I mean, to the general fund balance, please.
Yep.
And so if somebody said is that 1.4 million is lower than we've ended in, 6 years, That's by design, right? That's not by bad luck or misfortune.
Currently, that is our estimated budgeted balance.
Okay.
And for the month of October, we received our property tax payment.
That's why you saw that shoot up. And you'll see that'll begin to work its way down. You get that shot with taxes, and then that'll begin going down.
Can you go to are you done, Michael?
Yeah, thank you.
Can you go to ASB? So just looking at the trends over time, that thing just keeps growing and growing. Is that inflation driven? Is that,
So it's
what's
two.
driving that?
Because we've had this conversation over time. It's two parts. Reminder with ASB, we can't expend those funds without student permission, right? So students are the driver of these dollars. So they'll meet and they'll drive those. So it's two parts. It's one, they're earning. We're also adding more clubs, more activities and things like that. So over time, you're getting, when you add a club and then they're doing that, you've got a little bit of that inflation. So, yes, we have conversations. I've talked to them, making sure we're spending stuff down. We're not just holding that money in there for things. Students are getting that money and they're spending it on the projects. So I know we've talked about this, and I continue to talk to Kyle to make sure we're watching those pieces. You're gonna see a lot of that money is banked up, built up by clubs like your FFAs and some of those other pieces that are in there. So we don't have the ability to go in and just spend that. Students have the final authority in those pieces and take votes on these.
And a lot of times they're earning money through the year, and then at the end of the year, they have their, trips or whatever they plan to use it for.
But I understand what you're saying, because we've had this conversation about the trajectory of that over time.
Yeah, in a previous regime, I think it was Russ, had mentioned that, we're getting up around 125,000. We probably need to start having some conversations, and here I'm seeing it go further, and I don't know what that rationale was in the past, why we would need to have those conversations.
Yeah, I don't have a number on that, but what we continue to watch is the balances, right? We're watching to make sure that, what we want to see is, because kids are either earning money for things like that. We don't want to see it sit there, right? If kids are making that money, we want to see that money spent. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at money in, money out, those type things.
Okay, that was it. Thank you.
So as Dana gets ready, I'm just gonna jump in and I'm not gonna steal her thunder with anything, but she's got a lot of great information she's to talk to you about. But I just wanted to continue to remind her, Dana, what year? Yep. She's done just an amazing job for us. We haven't skipped a beat. She's obviously well-informed, and she knew what she was doing. She was walking into this. We continue to have great conversations. You're gonna see some of the pieces in there. I think last year we talked about you're impressed with some of the updates and numbers that you'll see it again, but she's really continues to be on the front end of this, of the work that we're doing, and I just continue to appreciate that through that transition, she hasn't skipped a beat, and we'll continue to do great things through our transportation piece. So, you wanna get started?
So, routing software. I just got a recent quote. It's $14,000 a year. Finley has this program and they talk highly about it. Here's the quote. It's $14,000 yearly, of course, forever. So, I had an idea. There has to be a cheaper way to do this. If it can track where we go in our side-by-side, why can't we track where the buses go or where we want them to go? So I downloaded Onyx Off-Road. It's $100 a year. And if you see, I color coordinated, each route is a different color. And I rode on each route in the morning and the afternoon so that, because it's on my phone, so it has to track. And then I went in and put all the stops at, wherever they are according to what color the route number is. It shows on there the time it took And you can see, you can either have the names of each property, you know, you can either see them or hide them. And for this, we don't need to see them. So we're hoping that this is gonna work a lot better for us. This is a 2D picture of it, which actually I think is a little easier. So in the future, we would like to have, you know, a couple tablets or whatever for a substitute driver so that they could get on, get the route, look at the tablet, and know exactly where to go. And if we need to, you know, change the route, you know, or adjust them, we can do it easily on this. So Onyx will do, it's not $14,000, which is good. It's $100 a year. So my research kind of came through, which was nice. And so yeah, it's a good, I think, small district kind of tool. Our funding.
Before you jump into that, Dan, I just want to say, going back to that, so she's really been working hard, you know, through last year and this year to kind of take a lot of stuff we had in transportation. She started straight out with one of the problems that she's been working to solve, right? And really that is taking everything that we had from, we'll call it paper pencil, to kind of the next generation where we can actually manipulate, use some things, make it more customer friendly. She's worked really hard with notifications and communications on things like that. So the things you're hearing her talk about and see are some of the things she's been working on, talking about taking stuff from a more traditional way. Here's something, you know, photocopied, put on our website, trying to get a more interactive experience for our parents and things like that. And so she's starting with kind of, as we're working through that, what are those nuances of that. So I appreciate her effort and her work on that. I mean, it was pretty quick, and she sold herself kind of short on the, really, she put a lot of work into that. And so I just wanted you to know kind of that's where she's been working through that. So I just wanted to brag for her on that.
Could you touch on the benefits of having software like that? I mean, I think I understand, but maybe.
Like $14,000 a year software. They have like it's in real time, which is something we can't do with the Onyx. You pay for their software. There's all kinds. You can go in. You know, parents can go on there and see where the bus is. It just depends on like what level you want to have. Finley uses it. They, you know, can see where the buses are. So if someone calls and says, hey, where's the bus? You know, they're 3 minutes away or whatever. We don't have that in our district so much as just, you know, parents wanting to know where the stops are and at what times. So with the Onyx, we can better estimate the times. And then I'm hoping sometime to put that on the website so that it might be an interactive kind of thing so that parents could zoom in. Because if you tell them the stop's at 788 Harbor, they don't know that that's just next door or 2 houses down. I think looking at a map would be a lot more beneficial to parents in trying to figure out where their kids go. And I mean, and there are occasions where we have to change the stops too, so that, you know, would be easy to update on the Onyx and then update it on the website.
I mean, previously, before, we sent messages on at the beginning of the year, here's the dates, here's the time. We take a piece of paper, we update it with route times, we post it on our website, and that's that, right? So that's past practice. So we're trying to take that next step and really engage our families. Obviously, you can imagine we get a lot of questions. Why don't they stop in front of my house, right? Versus you can see we have group spots, right? You know, where we do things like that. And we're trying to show parents, you know, where those stops are and how we group that. And, you know, as much as we'd like to stop as best we can to every child, but it just doesn't work, right? So,
So our fuel in total miles last year was 89,000 miles, and our total fuel was 53,000, which is pretty pretty on point besides inflation. The funding report I just did, we have 663 students that we counted for those certain days. And that includes, subtracts the kids that walk. Anyway, so it's higher. Last year at this time for fall it was 617, so that's good. It's an increase, which means, you know, our funding would increase. And the average route is carrying about 50 students right now.
You want to briefly just jump into the one nuance of what is TriTech in 60 seconds or less this year?
Yeah, TriTech is crazy. TriTech's at 3 different places this year. It's at CBC, the main campus, and then the Fruitland building. So, and we have students going to all 3, of course. So we have 3 drivers that go in the morning to each spot. Each one goes to the spot. And we have, so then those same 3 drivers have to go pick up the students from TriTech or Fruitland or CBC. And then only the main campus has PM TriTech. So the morning is just for CBC and Fruitland because there's only a couple kids in those programs. But the big portion is still at the main campus.
So is that because of the remodel?
Yes,
So we're double the manpower roughly?
At least.
yes.
So this is we're hoping it's a 1-year problem. But they received legislative funding for a remodernization of their campus. And so that was kind of thrown at all the transportation directors throughout the area saying, guess what, we're gonna be splitting in 3 different locations, and guess what, we're all trying to start at the same time. So if you imagine, I mean, if we had it would've been real easy if they had offset those schedules, right? But now you're trying to work that with every single district here that sends all their kids. So it was a bit of a scheduling nightmare for all the directors. They got together and put a lot of time and effort into it. But yes, it's requiring, you'll see when you start looking at these year after year, you'll see a little blip next year, right? Because we're gonna have some more miles, we're gonna have some more drivers, we'll have some more expenses. It's a 1-year, hopefully, problem for us, but this is still getting our kids to those programs. So it's a necessary evil.
And really, it's not, it seems like it would be a lot of time, but it's not. In the morning, our latest bus comes back at 8:25. So that's 25 minutes extra that, you know, than someone who's not doing it. And in the midday, it's like less than an hour because we put another student, ECAP, or not ECAP, SPED student with it. So then it's not even a whole hour. So I've tried to minimize that as best as possible, but still being efficient. So this is our inventory of buses. We have 7 route buses, 1 trip bus. And trip bus, I mean that it has storage underneath. And we have 2 wheelchair buses. So we have 1 bus coming off of depreciation. Help me, Todd.
Yep.
End of,
At the end of this next year.
yeah, this next year. So, and our transportation vehicle fund. So next year, September 1st, we will get a big balloon payment for that bus. And then we'll have enough money to buy another trip bus because we're really short right now. Because if you have, say, football and, I don't know, like volleyball, okay, obviously football is going to get the bus with all the storage underneath. But if if volleyball has 3 teams, then that might be a tight fit. So I just think that the underneath storage is a huge advantage. And of course, they're more expensive.
They're our most expensive buses.
Yeah.
So with that, because of the size and the storage.
So it was only like $1,000. The transportation vehicle is around $135. Our projected payment, August 31st, is about $126,000.
So we'll be receiving that as a balloon payment for those buses that are coming in.
And then that would make our fund 261 and our new bus is 230.
So again, we're doing great. Now, keep in mind, this one, you think you're cutting it short, but remember, we went ahead and bought already, right? So when we had those 3 buses all at once, when we did that to pay those off, we've already gone out in front and started purchasing those to separate those, so we don't have the spot where we land and lose 3 buses all at once. Eventually, we're gonna get a balloon payment of all 3 of those on 1 year, which will help offset and reset that piece. So, although it looks tight, I continue to say, Dr. Gates started many, many years ago with this board, many years ago. We are in amazing shape in terms of transportation funding. We're exactly where we need to be in, and we've already overcome that 3-bus blip where we're at it. We've been able to maintain all our buses on the Transportation Vehicle Depreciation Fund. So kudos to Dr. Gates, I go back in my previous, and kudos to the board for their vision many years ago, maintaining those buses on that schedule. Because again, it's that self-funding piece. We don't have to go out to our community to ask for money for local levy or tech or other capital dollars for that. The state funds that. So they continue to build that based on that depreciation piece. So I can take no credit for any of that. So that's been the work of our previous folks.
So for the 3 that are coming off, though, in 26, we've already bought one, and we're gonna buy another one here. We're gonna buy a 3rd one? When?
Eventually, we have to space those payments out. So those balloon payments will work out to another bus down the road. But what we've done, instead of having 3 come off at once, we've had one come off 1 year, then another year. So in the future, we're able to space these out a little bit better.
And the $230,000 price is a trip bus with full belly storage.
Yes.
It doesn't really, I mean, a trip bus with that storage doesn't really cost that much more. I mean, it's like another 10%, isn't it? It's not really that much more.
The thing that costs the most is the rear engine. Because then they have to put everything up front that they need up front from the rear engine, and to have, because you can have like storage on each side of the bus and there's small compartments. But I mean, if you're talking football, you're gonna get like 1 bag in. So the pass-through is a much larger expense.
I want to say, Amber, correct me if I'm wrong, the
like-
last bus we got was about 185 roughly. See that new bus price trip, you're at 230. So last one we bought was not a trip bus, and that was about mid-180s.
Yeah.
So that's going to show you the difference there. These are all state pre-bid piece. We get the state bid contracts on these, so we're good to go.
But it's certainly reasonable to need 2 trip buses, though. I mean, if you only have one, I mean, you're.
Yes. And
Right.
the other piece I think Dana has done a good job talking to me about is our bus fleet, which is outside of this, is primarily a lot of a similar bus, right? And so in her conversations with me, she's beginning to influence me in a positive way, that we're looking at using different types, right? Different, I'm not saying it right, but, trying to get, whether they're all Bluebirds or Thomases, we're trying to get a little bit of a few of each. If you have a big problem with one, you're gonna have a big problem with a lot of your buses. So we're trying to, what's the word I'm trying to say? Hey, yeah, thank you. I'm trying to say our fleet a little bit.
Since we don't stock the parts and do the maintenance ourselves, there's not really a penalty to having different.
We take them to wherever they need to go.
And so the needs for the new trip bus is pass-through storage, the most important. The VGT brake, which is kind of like a Jake brake when you're going down a hill. Adjustable pedals. In my opinion, I don't think we should order any bus without adjustable pedals anymore. It's not worth a back injury. And we definitely need, as we order these new buses, better quality cameras. Our cameras are very old, and the place that we need to get them serviced is in Texas. So that causes a huge issue. And this is your invitation. When was the last time you rode a school bus? So I'm inviting all of you to ride a route an afternoon route, because in the morning, the kids are still asleep. You can go to any school. You have a complimentary valet back to your car. If you have heart issues or sensitivity to loud noises, you should bring your nitroglycerin or earplugs. It will be fun, I guarantee it, and you'll have stories to talk about. That's it.
Open invitation.
Thank you.
Any questions for Dana?
Thank you very much, Deanna. That was a good pitch and makes sense. Thank you.
Okay.
Can you give us an update on the vans, the usage of those?
Yep, they are coming in very handy. Like we're using it for, say, Knowledge Bowl. And then if we have, like girls wrestling, there's only 8 girls right now for middle school. So if we don't have a bus driver, which, you know, it's starting to become our busy season, then that allows us to give that van to one of the coaches and they can drive. It's worked, our system that we kind of have in place has worked out great. We have a little trouble getting the key back, but we're working on that situation. But I think they're well worth buying them. Next September, they're also gonna have state bids for vans because our vans aren't on our depreciation schedule at all.
They're not allowed to by law when we
yeah.
got those. That wasn't an option.
But September 1st is gonna change of this coming year, and you'll be able to buy them on state bid, and then they will be also on depreciation. Ours can't, because we already bought them, but for the future, they will be on depreciation, which is a good thing, because that just is more, money coming back that will help us get new ones. These ones, once, they just die, we have to start over.
So we were the trendsetter. I mean, we bought 3 vans and somebody at the state level said, hey, that van thing's a good idea. You don't need a CDL driver and you have
Yep.
more flexibility and.
Yep.
There's certainly a lot of folks that had them, but for us, it absolutely was worth it. I don't know if I'd say every week they're out, but it just sure seems like it. There's always something going on, and they're always in use. So to say that we purchase something that just sits there, nothing could be further from the truth.
So if we haul the basketball team up to wherever, does the basketball team pay for that transportation, or does that come out of like general fund kind of? I mean, I guess my question for asking is, if we're using the vans, could we charge those fees so we could have a replacement funds at the end of the useful life of the van?
Yeah, Amber and I have talked about creating that system that will hopefully, because any future ones that we get, we're talking about the new state, the depreciation stuff will fix that, right? But we don't have that system set up for those, right? We talked about that last year, about setting those up based on who's using it. We have a log to where we can go back, start putting that away. That will hopefully help us purchase those down the road.
Yeah, we had to get through the year 1, see how it's being used, what the cost is. And I couldn't tell you off the top of my head how much they cost last year, but,
How do you factor in the savings that if you have a bus going on a trip, you pay the driver the whole time, but if you send a coach in the van, you're not paying you're paying the coach to be a coach, but you're not paying him to drive.
So Michael,
How do you factor that savings into
some
now?
of that's contractual. Depending on the situation, there are times when a bus driver still could drive a van based on what's available and what we have. There are times when they wouldn't, where the coach would be taking them. So it's very circumstantial based on that. Obviously, if the bus driver's not driving, then you're saving the cost of that trip, right? In terms of that bus driver and their salary. The fuel is obviously a huge difference between the bus and a van. And so mainly You're really talking about time of the employee, whether or not you're paying an additional person, because that coach is still gonna go on the bus or the van either, so you're not saving anything there. So really, the only savings you're gonna make is either A, in the bus driver, if they're driving or not, and then really the efficiency of the van versus the bus. The other one is, as we get into this, there'll be some rule changes on how this is what you can claim in transportation. And there'll be some rules and some adjustments on what you can actually get transportation funds in right now. Like when we're doing those vans, we can't claim transportation funds for those right now. Down the road, depending on the situation, the circumstance, if we're making a trip with those vans, there's rules that are supposed to be shifting to where you will be able to get those. So we're kind of in this 1 year waiting for some of these to change. Amber has been monitoring, Dana's got the numbers, you know, how that usage is. And then, because we didn't know we were gonna be able to get money for vans on the road, we were acting as if we gotta build the system to replace those, which we talked about a year ago, and we're still working through that.
I just know we haven't been able to find a mechanism until I say COVID money, I forget the regular.
ESSER dollars.
Dollars. So we couldn't find money to buy vans before, over the life of what I can remember. So to be able to replace them right out of pocket, I don't think we're gonna be able to do that, and I think we'd be doing a disservice unless we had a mechanism to replace them. And whatever that looks like, I don't know, but we've gotta get something in place. Otherwise, we're just gonna end up right back where we were.
We will. In the works.
Thank you.
That's quite, when's
but
the
the
next
next-
time? Oh, go ahead.
But the next van we buy will be on state depreciation.
If all that comes through, like, again, I say everything with an if, because we have a legislative session coming up, and anything can change, right, with our state in crisis. I mean, that's what they continue to say our budget this, so, if what we're hearing comes to fruition, then yes, we'd like to say that, but I'm not gonna count those until we actually see it. Sorry.
No, just, how long has it been since we had to rent the bus? Or motor coach?
Since last year, we had to charter one.
That's better than, what, 2 years ago, or?
Well, just ask Dana, I mean, she
Yeah.
can tell you.
And we haven't been combining Route 1 and 7 like we usually had, so I think we're on the kind of upside of it, I guess. Hopefully, we got Lisa McGee, her husband is the McGee plumbing guy. She has 6 kids, you know, between 2 of them that are in the district. She'll be here a while, so I mean, you know, that's a good thing. She was me 20 years ago, so I mean, you know, I think it's important to get those people that are gonna stay around because of their children or, you know, because they're in the community.
And Thad, you asked about, you know, third-party transportation. Keep in mind, it wasn't just a few years ago, when we're paying out third-party transportation in the tunes of hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
I mean, so, just do the quick math and you can clearly see, you know, and that's several things. I mean, that's vans, but that's also Dana, she's done a really good job. We have bus drivers, we've got subs, so it's not all just one thing, it's several things coming together though. When I talk about the work that's going on, we got good work going on there. We're on a good run. So.
Thanks for managing that, to control those costs, that's wonderful.
Okay, anything else before she moves on?
Thanks, Dana. Siwasa?
Yeah.
This won't be the same without Dan Steele though, right?
Oh, that's his name, isn't it?
Yes.
The old gloom and doom.
So, we are going to, actually not a reminder, for those of you, you've done this before, but January 15th at ESD 123, right? We have our regular regional CWASA workshop. If you're interested in that, Nikki is the person. Just let her know. She will get you registered for that. They normally do a dinner there where they'll be doing kind of a legislative update, what's new. Melissa Rathbone has taken Dan's position. She will be presenting, until you get a chance to hear from her if that's something you're interested in and what's going on at the state level. So we don't have a deadline for that yet. We'll bring it back, but if you're interested, Kia's the person. She'll give you, typically they're around,
Kia, I'm in, please.
typically it's like a 5 or 6 o'clock evening session. And there's a little, we'll call it a buffet style dinner, and then you just kind of get to hear the latest going on at the legislative level. And you'll have boards from all across the region showing up, so.
I'd like to end it on time and not too late, you know, because a lot of people have a lot further to go home than we do, so. It's a pretty good thing to get the pulse of what's going on in Olympia and all that, so.
Does it cost? Is there a fee?
I want to say there's a minor fee. I mean, it's,
Let me get back to you then.
I'll have to go back and see. I'll look that one up for sure. I don't want to say, yeah. We were gonna add, Michael's piece to it, yep.
Okay. I went to 2 conferences last week. I went to, there's one that's on Wednesday. It's sponsored by the Pacific Research Institute. They're kind of a conservative think tank out of California. They do one in each state. Some of the really conservative school directors in the smaller districts have started to boycott the WASDA one because of the cost and because they just feel like it's too far left. We've seen a little bit of a swing back to the right this year that I'll talk some more about. But the Pacific Research one is on Wednesday, and there's a fairly senator named Walsh. I forget his first name, but he always kind of comes and gives a pep talk. Something he says every year that that I kind of take heart with. He said that a school, according to RCA 28A 320.015, which I know all of you have memorized, of course, it says that as school board members, we have broad and discretionary powers to determine and adopt policies and procedures that are unique to our district so long as they don't conflict with state law. You know, a lot of times we think we just have to adopt them as presented, but we don't. We have some flexibility. They talked about challenges in the teaching profession, and one of the data points that is becoming more and more common, they say that a young, passionate, energetic teacher with no experience is almost always better than an older, experienced teacher that doesn't have as much passion or energy. That the lack of experience is the smaller problem than the lack of passion and energy in the 2 equations. They have a new film. It's not available yet. It's called Graduation Day. And Dirty Jobs' Mike Rowe was kind of the brainchild of it. He narrates it and is fairly involved in it. And they showed us a bunch of pieces of it. It was pretty interesting. There have been some recent Supreme Court decisions about free speech and about the ability to opt out of school programs that don't line up with your beliefs. There was a fairly classic case in the Midwest where a district had required students to address other students by their preferred pronoun as a matter of force. You had to. And the 8th District said, no, you can't force a student to call Susie a he if the person who knows Susie knows he's not a he. I'm not really saying that right. But anyway, they say it's a matter of free speech. A really common poster that's starting to show up in school districts is a big banner that says girls' rights versus boys' feelings, talking about the sports conflict of biological males competing with the girls. We haven't seen much of that in this state, but it's more prevalent in the East. Ferndale, a large district north of Bellingham, I went to a presentation they had, and they have probably the most successful no cell phone policy in the state. Cell phones off at the first bell for both staff and students. No cell phone use during those hours. You get them at lunchtime, and then they're off again until the end of the day, to the last bell. And they say that it's made a dramatic improvement in discipline and in learning and in lack of other distractions. Student reps, I want to talk to you now. There's a consensus that most of our student reps in the state, that we don't really get as much out of you as we could. You come and give a nice presentation that you probably laboriously and work on and sweat and worry about it, about what's going on, but we don't really give you anything else to do. Some of the other districts are starting to have the student reps review policy and procedure that impacts students, like discipline policy and grading policy, and make suggested edits subject to board approval. That's becoming more and more common. The small districts are having more and more trouble filling school board seats. There's a big contingent out there that says that local control is pretty well ended. There's fewer people willing to serve on really small conservative boards because they feel like that Olympia holds all the cards. And there's some pushback on that. Math performance on standard tests is down nationwide. They attribute that to a lack of quality teachers, young teachers coming out of the colleges to teach math, kind of the higher end math. And a lot of school districts have tried starting later in the day because there's a lot of data that says that students don't get enough sleep. And they start later in the day, but it hasn't seemed to done a dadgum bit of good, because the issues with student sleep isn't really about what time they start, but it's about what time they go to bed, getting them off their devices, and a lack of exercise are kind of the three main culprits that people think is the big problem with student performance, that they're just sleep deprived for those reasons. I've got this kind of summarized. I'll pass it out if anybody wants to, but I thought it was worthwhile to go to both conferences. In my place of employment, when you go to a conference, you have to tell everybody what it cost. It cost $1,776 for me to go to the WASDA conference. The PR one was free. Between the conference registration, the hotel, and the mileage, I feel like it was an acceptable expenditure for what I got and what I think can benefit us. So, anyway, so guys, remember, we have broad and discretionary powers.
As long as it fits state law. Right? Wasn't that the
Right.
kicker?
Right, but I think that WASDA is going, I think they're gonna try to lobby to the legislature to try to return local control where they can, because it's becoming more and more of an issue in smaller districts.
Michael, you mentioned student reps. Did you want any feedback from them on anything, or do you want them to think about something and bring something back to you based on some of that experience?
Ivy, what do you think?
About what?
Are you overworked now as a student rep?
I don't think so.
Do you think it would be valuable for you and your fellow board reps to look at policy changes that we make that impact students directly, like discipline and grades? That
Yeah,
your
sure.
feedback could be valuable there?
I think so.
Okay. Another thing that some other districts are doing is that, we always talk about, how are the students that graduated here 4 or 3 years ago doing? Where are they? What are they doing? Are they at college? Are they in a trade? Are they working? Are they unemployed? Are they still living in the basement? I mean, where are they? What are they doing? And some districts say that they use their board reps for that, because you have older siblings and friends, and you kind of have more hooks to know those things than us old people that don't stay connected in the same way. Anyway, no action, but let's just kind of consider that for the future, if that's okay.
Any thoughts on that?
I agree. I think it's a good idea.
Okay. We've talked in the past about projects and doing some things like that, and I've still, talked to them about how we go about looking at doing something like that. So that's still kind of on the periphery of how we go about, engaging in something, so. Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks for attending.
All right, 8.6, we're gonna go, board meeting start times. We're gonna add that to it. Brad?
Yep. So just open discussion regarding the start time of our meetings. I would like to consider the idea of maybe starting at 6 instead of 7. So I'd be open to any feedback or reasons why we shouldn't, or something I'm not thinking of, or maybe we just don't wanna do that. I wanna open it up for conversation.
Primary goal being to be able to end earlier.
Correct.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
I think we should get this probably in front of Crystal and Haley as well, so maybe we could.
Yeah, report. I'm not taking a vote tonight on it. Tonight's just a discussion point. Should we bring it to the board for an actionable item where we want to move forward on adjusting? Our schedule requires us, you know, to obviously communicate with our community when we're doing that, and we would still have plenty of time to do that whenever we decide to do that. If that's something, we can let the will of the board, if the board wants to adjust that, we certainly can do that. I mean, we can talk about, time, you know, you're talking about, days, I mean, all those are up for conversation. I'm not suggesting, that we switch everything all at once, but, since you're bringing up times, I was gonna bring up eventually, we have a board meeting in, is it January? That, for the first time since I've been here, no fault of Tavis's, you didn't know that, but we have a high school basketball game scheduled on the same night as a board meeting night, a home high school basketball piece, which we don't normally have those conflicts. It's one of the evenings where it's just our boys playing, not the girls. So it's one of those late edition non-conference games. And so there'll be a conversation, and we still have December to talk about it, but do we wanna offset that and
Reschedule it.
and move that night? We can't move it to the next day on Tuesday, cause that's home versus Finley, you know, move that. The earliest, we could move that to following that meeting date would be that Thursday night.
That's a business meeting, not a.
It is a business meeting. And again, we have the ability to do that when we shift those times. This is separate than times, because when you're shifting the day, it's out of that regular schedule. The only thing I come to you is we set our schedule, and instead of saying, do we wanna make changes to the agendas, we're not allowed to make changes on those nights, cause it doesn't follow our regular flow of things. So I would just inform the board on those nights, we can't make any changes. But my suggestion is we look forward, I can bring it back to you next month. Let's talk about the times, but I wanna also talk to you about, do we wanna change that specific meeting date to possibly that Thursday, and see how that works for the board.
I think it makes sense. You're probably gonna be gone, right? I mean, I'm probably gonna be gone. Haley, I don't know. Crystal, Michael, you attend the games, right? Amanda,
I'd
you-
like to when I can.
It's a home game that night, so.
We're playing LeGrand, right?
Correct.
That's the LeGrand game.
Correct.
Oh, that's, you said it, boys only, right?
Boys only for that night. But still, it's a home game here, and it's just a conflict, so I knew it was gonna be a conflict for some of us.
I think we should look at moving it. Good with that?
So
Thursday?
I can come back next month when we talk time. If you guys decide to make a vote on that, and then we can adjust that meeting date and just see what that looks like for you guys. Good with that? Okay, again, no vote, we'll have it in notes.
Good. Moving on.
Okay, we are going to move on to policies. Want to remind you, these are now second readings. I'll work through this as quickly as I can, but stop me if you'd like. Remember, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 were in response to House Bill 1296. And you can see the first 4 are critical. I wanted to bring to your attention that I brought to you, reminder, 2 policies that were not critical. They're in purple on my slide there, you can see up there, because they're regarding the oath of office and ethical conduct for board members. WASA didn't code those as critical, but I wanted to bring them to your attention because it's specific to board members on those. The oath of office, as I talked to you last month about, they added a statement in there in the state of Washington, the laws of the state of Washington, and ethical conduct. They just added some clerical pieces in those, so I want to bring that to your attention. The other 1, 2, 3, 4 policies, you had 2 that were also deemed critical. All very basic, very in favor of, not even what I consider in these 4 anything controversial. I brought in 2 of myself. You can see that were just labeled as important because they were solid pieces that need to be made to non-discrimination. We get audits on those, wanted to make sure we're up the latest on that one. The second one that was non-critical was revisions made. It has to do with the Washington State School Board standards. It's stuff that in our yearly document that we sign in August, it's already in line with. And really the recruitment, selection, evaluation of staff, really the changes and adjustments in there, is making the adjustments in those pieces, basically saying the superintendent is the primary person in the roles that does those pieces, which already aligns with our documents. So I thought it was important just to stay aligned with those. So those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 policies I'm suggesting we move forward with tonight.
Pardon my ignorance, what is adrenal insufficiency?
We looked this up the other day. It's, gosh, Michael, I feel bad now, I don't remember it, but we actually looked that up the other day, we were going through this. The nuances of that has to do with the health plans that we have to have for students that have these instances.
But it's a brand-new procedure, though. I mean, we've never had it before.
It's specific to students with that specific scenario. It's critical because, again, it's required. Our nurse, in fact, the reason I brought it up, because I've already talked with our nurse Carly, she's aware of it. We've already been operating under this already, so now we're just putting policy to match what we're already doing anyway.
I got a question on the evaluation of superintendent.
Okay.
So, as I recall, there was a couple of key dates throughout the year where things needed to happen, and it was spelled out. I don't see this spelling that out.
The key dates that we have to do that is based on my contract,
So not policy.
not policy. That was the contract that was put before me almost 8 years ago, identifying dates and times when we had those. My reminders to you is always a reminder based on that contract.
Gotcha.
That's not within there. Good question.
So really, we're just it lays out the criteria for the 8 key points of evaluation.
Yes, if you want to use that based on their state criteria and all those pieces.
So that's not how we've been doing it, but we plan to do that moving forward.
You can if you would like. In the past, I've been giving you the goals, right? And then you guys check. So if you would like to move to that, I absolutely can. I did that as a piece of, that's what was agreed upon at the time. So if we shift and want to move to that, we can.
We probably do, but let's have some conversation about it too.
Okay. I can go either direction.
Well, I just, I know, your goals really line up with long-term strategic planning as well.
Goals have been set to the strategic plan.
Right, and that makes sense, but RCW says we need to do something different, so, I don't know, let's
All I
chat.
would probably do is take those goals and stuff that we have within our strategic plan and align them to the 8 categories. That's really what I would do, is take the pieces that we already have in there and just divvy them up. Here's where they fit within those categorical pieces.
That's all I've got. Anything further on the 10 policies? Questions? We can take them all at once, right?
Correct.
Okay. Entertain a motion on the 10 second readings.
To adopt?
Correct. Second reading.
I'll make a motion for all 10, second reading to adoption.
I will second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
Okay, moving forward to new business, resolutions. So first one is 2526-01. This is our annual, we do this every year, certification of our 2026 excess property taxes. Reminder, this is nothing new. This is actually the last year of our previous levy that was passed back in 2021, that began in 2022. And so we are collecting on the last year for 2026. Following last month's conversation, we decided we'd maintain that same rate as 2025. The total collection rate there is in purple. And so this is just something we have to put through each and every year. It's already been passed, there's nothing new we have to do, but because we're capped out at that rate, we actually have to roll out what we actually collect.
I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we adopt resolution 2526-01.
Second?
Discussion?
This is one we had a long conversation about last time, and we worked that through, and I came back with the rates that you had asked for.
Hearing none?
Roll call vote.
You need a roll call? No?
Aye.
It seems like we used to on resolutions,
Let's
but,
do it then.
okay. Adam?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Brad? Aye.
I should look that one up.
Okay, it's unanimous.
Okay.
252602.
So 252602, so this is for the potential next EP&O levy coming up for the February vote. We have an expiring EP&O educational program, so I highlighted in purple the EP&O levy. Again, reminder, it expires at the end of the 2026 year. And this replacement levy will be used to pay the expenses that are not fully funded by the state of Washington. Reminder, EP&O, these are educational programs, operations pieces. It's just, this is the general stuff that's not covered by the state that we use. These are people's salaries, these are programs, these are athletics, these are anything extracurricular, drama, band, music, you name it, all those pieces that are not covered by the state of Washington, that's what these are covering. Reminder, you asked us to come back at the same rates that we passed the last levy at, which is $3.30 per thousand of assessed value. Reminder that we don't set those final exact levy rates because those are adjusted based on the assessed value of our property. But we're gonna be going and asking our voters for the same $3.30 that we asked for back in 2022.
Should say mowing the lawn in there somewhere, Todd. The state doesn't pay for that,
It does not.
equipment or the labor,
It does
or the
not.
fertilizer, or the irrigation, or anything.
So what the language you're seeing in there is the exact language you're seeing going in there. You're limited to the number of characters that you can put in there. So this was, the write-up you're seeing right there was done by a bond and levy attorney. I wish I could add a lot more, but you can only literally put so many letters in there.
For a motion?
I'll make it.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion?
One of the, can I talk again for a little bit?
Please.
Cheney, I went to a pitch that Cheney made. They're a little different than us. They're bigger and they have about $3 billion of assessed value in their district. And we have a whopping, 850 million or 900 million.
Amazon just came into their place, which adjusted their taxes.
But they ran three things on the same ballot. They had an EP&O, and a technology, and a new building. And everybody voted the same on all three, and they got like 58%. And so the first two passed, but the third one didn't. And most people said, well, we didn't know that we needed 60% on that third thing. We didn't know that. And of course, we don't have that problem this time. But the other thing that they did is that, to translate it to our community, they got Mike Wickstrom to say a little piece about fire protection in the community and all that. And they got the athletic director to say a little bit about what they use it for. And they got one of the building principals to talk about it. And they got a couple old timers to talk about it. And they had this, video on their website so people could watch it and see these local community people who they knew and said, this is why we're asking for it and this is why we need it. And so when they came back the next year and they just had one item on the ballot, the new, the 65 million to build a new building, to buy some land and remodel two other buildings, it passed really easily. And they said, A, it was the only thing on the ballot, and B, we got some other people involved, and it wasn't just the school people talking about it again. So anyway, it was a pretty interesting summary, how they did it.
I lost track. Did we vote on that one?
We have not yet.
Pat?
Yes. Aye.
Oh, sorry. Any further discussion?
Well, that was
You
it,
good?
sorry.
Okay. Sorry. I want to make sure you didn't have more.
No, that was more than enough, maybe too much.
Dad?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Brad? Aye. It's unanimous.
Moving on to the last resolution. So this one is really the debate. After last month's conversation, this was again a resolution I'm bringing to you, 2526-03, 25-26-04. I have two in front of you. We're seeking to approve one of the two. So I'm bringing before you one I'm hoping to approve, and one I'm hoping you will not approve. In highlights, you asked me to bring back the, this is our capital tech levy. Again, we have an expiring levy coming out with our technology piece. We have one that's 2026 in. It's a 4-year replacement capital technology levy. I'll show you the specific taxes in the next one, but this, over the last 4 years, Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong, we've been collecting $425,000 a year to support technology across the district. Again, it's the Chromebooks, it's the infrastructure, it's the switches, it's the software, it's all the things that are, dare I say, sexy and not sexy, right? The things that you see, the things that are behind the walls. And so with that, we came back and had a conversation about, well, with the cost of doing business, we better increase that a little bit. That same switch and that same Chromebook 4 or 5 years ago doesn't cost the same. So we went from 425 to the two I'm bringing before you is 450,000, you can see, for the 25-26-03, and the 475,000 for 25-26-04. That's the only difference between the two is the amount collecting. If you go to the next slide, that actually gives you the breakdown of the rates per thousand that we would collect on 03. You can see in white, that's 425,000. That's what we're collecting in 2026. And then the next four would be laid out. You can see if we collected 450,000, that'd be 32 cents and down to 31 cents. Reminder that goes down because your assessed value goes up, and those are estimated costs. We like to beat those costs. In fact, 9 times out of 10, we always beat those costs because we estimate very conservatively on those pieces. For the next one, 04, you can see is 475,000. So the difference between the first and the second one is 25,000. Between the second one, 04, the difference is 50,000. You see the rates per thousand, what that would look like.
So 2 cents per thousand.
So one consent?
Why could we not decide? I mean,
It was, we were going back and forth between, what are those rates that we want? Andrew started having questions. He was going back. Andrew's gone back. I mean, I'm sure if you asked him, he'd tell you, but he started going back looking at, all right, what are the projects we got coming up? What are the things that are coming up that we need to look at? Can we start getting quotes? What are those things actually cost that we'll have to carry out either on an annual basis, or is there something new that we've got coming up on that? So, Andrew, do you want to speak to any of that?
I can add just a little bit of context and information there. So, again, anytime I talk about the levy, just to acknowledge the support of the community and their continued support over the last 25 years for the levy has just been amazing and allowed us to really get to where we are today, making sure that the infrastructure is where it's at. And, but that one on the left kind of gives us the some of the increases that are coming in, Chromebook changes, and a new phone system that's going to be expiring in the next 4 years. But the one on the right really takes you to the next level and starts to think about the intercom system. The old intercom system that's now about 30 years old integrates well with the old phone system, but a newer phone system may have trouble integrating with an older intercom system. And so that next level really takes us to upgrading that system for greater compatibility, greater reach, and that really allows for those emergency notifications to go across district-wide. And it goes back to our core elements that we're trying to do here, protecting student safety, upgrading our Chromebooks to provide the best education experience for our kids with our new online curriculum assessments. And again, just tying everything back to cybersecurity with the recent attacks that the districts are experiencing, that just puts us in a better spot to protect our data, student data, staff data, district data. So the one on the right puts us in the best possible position to handle any situation that may arise. The one on the left is a more conservative approach. If we want to hold off a little bit on some of that intercom project, hopefully find a way to try to integrate the older system. But that older system goes, the parts and pieces are harder and harder to get replaced. So the one on the right is the more proactive approach so that we're in a better position in the long run.
Are there any questions before we deliberate on this one?
Not really a question, just more comment. I mean, our 425, that's what it was before, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so what is that, 10%? I mean, everything has gone up that, just inflation alone. I mean, literally just inflation. So we're not able to do as much as we were before with that same amount of money. And the last thing we want to do, I think we want to do, is to keep this program stagnant. And we've got to continue to grow it. Otherwise, it's going to get stagnant. So the same dollars aren't the same now. So I think we have to, I mean, I would propose the 475. Just to keep that growth going. 19 cents a thousand.
And Andrew, you'd be happy with 475, and you'd be okay with 450, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I like your comment, so
I probably didn't articulate it well, but
I understand what you're saying.
The difference of 2 cents per thousand on my assessed value of my house and property and shop and all that is about $9.50 a year. About the price of a cheap fast food meal, the McDonald's value meal. Burger, fries, drink. I mean, to me, it's so little, it's not even worth worrying about.
I think it's good investment. It's investment in what we need to keep growing. I mean, if we don't grow our technology, we're gonna be left behind. You're not saying we gotta do the $14,000, program for you, but it's many things like that, if we don't have the funds to do it, we're gonna get stagnant.
So looking for a vote on 03 and 04, because I'm bringing them both before you. So one we need to shoot down and one we need to approve.
I would vote to reject 03 and put 04 on the approval list.
One by one, then.
Probably one by one.
Yeah, so let's just do the rejection first of 03. Thad?
So I will second 03.
Are we roll calling or?
We did the others.
Say aye on rejection, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
That was a
aye.
motion on the table.
Aye.
Michael?
Aye on rejection of 03.
Aye. Brad?
Okay, 04.
Make a motion to support it as written.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Brad? Aye. Unanimous.
Okay, we'll move forward with resolution 252604. We'll vote down 252603. We will be taking those to the county prior to December 12th to submit. And I'll follow up with you next month.
Awesome. New business?
New business, as part of that whole piece, you're gonna see beginning in February. It's, I guess, fortunate that, I believe you'll see a lot of districts going out all at the same time. You've got Pasco, Kennewick, Richland, ourselves, College Place, you got a lot of folks around us, going out, they'll be going out to the polls. Again, these are just replacement levies of those pieces, replacement EPNO, replacement technology. And as required, 4 years ago is the first time we had to do this, RCW 29A 32-280. We have to propose a for and against committee. That's new part of the public piece we have to do. We've advertised on Facebook, our website, and Parent Square went out saying we were looking for folks. on that. And on the District Pro Committee, we did have Haley Whirlinger came forward, asked to, I don't know if you even knew that, but look at that. She came forward, wanted to propose the pro-cons for the levies. The con committee, I have not been able to find anyone yet. I've begun working the phones. I will continue to work on that. We still have through December 12th to make that appointment. So I will continue to work on that. I have not been able to find anyone yet that has stepped up that wanted to do that side. I am actively seeking that. I know it sounds strange, but it's required. We actually have to go out and find someone that wants to write a statement against it, and so I'm working to try and find that.
If we don't find that person, are we forced to take that rabid anti-tax guy from the west side or not?
The rules have changed on that. So the rules have changed this last year, that the person that puts together your pro-con committee statements would be required to be a voting member within your community. So,
We could just not have one. I mean, you may not be able to find one.
yeah. So tonight I'm asking you to approve the appointment that we have here, because this actually has to be approved by the board. That also goes to the county. So this is, I'm looking for approval on this. And if I come up with the con, I will communicate to the board about any action we might be able to take prior to that to make that happen. So it's something I would like to find if we can, because I think it does work for us that, find someone to represent that. So
Okay, so you need action on,
the appointment of yep.
okay. Entertain a motion? Or just consensus?
Yeah.
You guys good?
Yeah.
Good?
Are you gonna help your mom, Ivy?
If she asked me to.
Okay, good.
You good, Michael?
Definitely.
Consensus? Okay, yeah, we're good.
We're all good? Okay. Appointment. Okay, board calendar review, December 15th is our next meeting. Remember, we have to move that up because of our early school's out on the 19th. So we weren't gonna do a board meeting after school's out. So that next meeting is in the middle of the month. It's interesting, if it was a little bit before that, we could do that, but the county, all the county measures have to be in by the 12th. So it'll be the week right before that. So any topic suggestion you want to bring up for next month? I'll have a follow-up on many things, but if there's anything particular outside of the calendar pieces that we have, I'll have that on there.
That's it? That's all I got. You guys got anything?
Nope.
Good?
Thank you. Yep.
All right, we're adjourned.
Nice job. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for
Appreciate it.
Is your finals of the week?
Oh, you got the scooter going. What happened?
I had the hardware put in last year, taken out.
Oh. Got to go through it twice, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I'm taking water.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
You'll talk tomorrow? Thank you again.
Ivy, where's your car at?
In the parking lot, my mom said she got her my keys out.
Okay, good.
Good deal. Okay.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything that you find? Perfect. I'll collect it and I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
And if anything, give me a holler. But I won't. Need something, holler.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave it up in the morning.
Okay. I'll leave you alone. Good answer.
Well, I was gonna say, our reception up there is not very good.
Okay.
I have Wi-Fi calling set up, so it will go through.
We're good. I'll send you a text.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Double check and make sure you got the, not the disapproved one.
Disapprove 3.
I think so.
Notice